you heard of the Plucky Squire, a game with a perspective swapping premise that takes place both in a child's room and a book? Have you heard of its excellent puzzles that blend Zelda-like exploration in multiple viewpoints to make simple yet heavily satisfying solutions? And have you heard of its wonderful minigames, each which pay homage to other games from across the genre spectrum? Well, if you haven't, I'm glad you're here, because today on GameRant, let me tell you about the Plucky Squire. The most notable feature of the Plucky Squire, and one that was shown in all of its trailers, is its perspective swapping premise. At first, this game takes place in a picture book, one that you might read in elementary school. The visual style is excellent and the game pulls you in on its cute premise, but as the game progresses, the villain Humgrump will kick you out of the book with some magic abilities he found. The game then uses this to set up a mixture of gameplay variety and meta-narrative. On the gameplay side, the swapping of perspectives is exhilarating. It creates fun puzzles and it livens up what otherwise might have been a simple combat system. More importantly, it makes traversing the world a joy. Popping into the paper to glide across castle flags, navigating around a corner that you otherwise wouldn't have been able to reach, and using tools from the outside that have an effect on the inside of the book. It all creates a seamless fun as you jump back and forth between the 3D and the 2D. But this perspective swapping also has a fun impact on the story as the game takes a meta-narrative approach. The characters within the book find out that they are in a book and find out the importance of their role within it. The child who is reading the Plucky Squire needs it to have a good-hearted story if he wants to turn into a great writer one day. The mission becomes imperative both to save what's going on in the book, but also to save the future of the kid reading it. One of the more underrated pieces of a Plucky Squire, though, is its variety and its pacing. Since the Plucky Squire never sticks in on one idea too long, you constantly experience new forms of gameplay. At its core, it's a Zelda-like top-down adventure game, but then you'll step into a lunch pail or a coffee mug and you're playing a side-scrolling shooter akin to something like Resogun. Then you'll get in a fight with a honey badger and the game takes the form of something like Mike Tyson's Punch-Out! The core gameplay is decently fun in its own right, but these side modes and these perspective changes create excellent variety that help pace out the game so that it's impossible to ever get bored. The framing of it all being a storybook character that now has free reign over a cluttered desk and can hop into other objects creates this excellent joy where you never know what you'll step into next. But behind it all, the Plucky Squire is just a sweet game. It's a loving art style, an upbeat story, and a reminder that sometimes joy can be found in simplicity. The visuals are nothing to write home about, but the matte finish on all the pages, the fun paper-constructed castles, and the little bits of light shining in from the window onto the desk give the game a cozy and nostalgic layer that grounds it. While the story does play with bits of meta-narrative, it ultimately is the tried and true idea of bringing down the big bad guy who is trying to turn the world to his whims, and you, the Plucky Squire, seek to bring everything back to order and save the day for the boy who reads the book. And all this tied together with small jokes and lighthearted interactions means that being in the world is a constant joy. The two friends you bring with you have an immense personality and purpose, and the way the game gives you hints with Minibeard, the smaller version of the main wizard Moonbeard, brings this lighthearted whimsy to each space you travel through. The Plucky Squire has cemented itself as one of the better indie games to come out this year. With its fun perspective swapping mechanics, its excellent pacing, and its ability to create a sense of joy, the Plucky Squire takes us back to a simpler time, but it does so with a fresh coat of ideas. So, if you hadn't heard of it, I'm glad now you have. And thanks for watching.